Hi ladies and gents, this will be part two of our site modeling using Sandbox tools. Just going to continue where I left off in the previous session. So we've modeled our terrain, we've projected the road and pathways, we've added the platform and terraces, so we're just going to add the rest of the colors. So allocate a bit of a dark tone for um, the road, add a bit of a brown for the path. Remember that your model terrain is a component. So every time you want to edit it, you need to just double click inside the component to edit it. So you're just going to add dark gray for the road and light colored brown for the pathway. I'll use that one. And then I'm just going to add a bit of a red color for the platforms as well as the terrace walls. Okay. Okay, next we want to add a base so that um, our model has a bit of volume and not just this kind of floating sandbox terrain plane or surface. So we're going to use our draping tool to kind of project the outline of our model onto a flat surface. So we're just going to create a square using the rectangular tool, create a square of our model. Below our model, so you can just double click on it, make a group, and just move it downward so that it doesn't interfere with the model. So just move it down, and then next you can just select the model and go to the drape tool on your sandbox bar and click on the flat surface to kind of project the outlines onto the surface. So you'll see that all our edges are projected onto the plane. Next, we want to copy. So you're just going to use just going to select our lines um, and then so select the square or the projected lines, go to edit, copy, and then go inside the model or the component, right click, or rather than right click, just go to edit and say paste. Alternatively, just press Ctrl V on your keyboard to place it and then place it exactly in alignment with the created square outside your component. Then you can just get out of the component and delete that square that we created previously. And then go back inside the component and start joining the corners. So obviously, depending on how thick you want your base to be, you might want to just move that square base up a little bit, and then you want to just explode it. Then you can just use your pen tool and just draw vertical lines connecting all your corners. Make sure that you're working in alignment. You can also use your up key or up arrow key on your keyboard to make sure that your cursor is kind of locked into a vertical direction, and just join the corners. Automatically, when you join the corners, a face should be created. If you don't get a face, that means there is a bend somewhere, so you just need to go back and see if there's a change in direction anywhere and just join those points. So any clear kind of change in direction, you can just join those. Otherwise, just use the corners. Let's come in here. All of these seem to be fairly straight. Just join the corner there. Okay, so there is a bit of a change in direction somewhere. Let's find it. Okay, so we've got closed kind of base all around our model. And you can just go ahead and delete the old square. Just going to delete the outlines. And just give the base a little bit of a different color, like a light gray or white. You can decide. So I'm just going to give it a light kind of gray tone. And before you export your JPEG, you can look at your styles. On your default tray, go to styles, and to kind of get rid of these kind of sketchy edges, you can just go to 3D printing style that has more of a crisp kind of look in terms of your edges. Alternatively, you can go to view, edge style, and just switch off your edges, switch off your profiles and your edges. That allows you to export your model without any edges. But for this particular exercise, you want your edges to show as per the example. So just go back, and you can leave the profiles off, but just switch on your edges, and create a scene. So you're going to go to your scenes under the default tray, create a scene, make sure that you are happy with the view. Create a scene. So to have kind of like a clean scene without these axes, you can also just go to view and just switch off the axes and just update your axes. So you can either right click on the tab or go to the scenes panel and update the scene. And you can also just close your default tray so that you have kind of a centered view of your model. And go ahead and file, export 2D graphic, and save your JPEG file. Then you can submit both your JPEG and SketchUp model. Make sure that you name your file correctly: assignment name, surname, and student number. And that'll be it for the session. Cheers.